Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jamie Lee, and I'm joined by my husband, Mr. Jared Lee. Hello, Jared.
Hello.
Well, I got a question.
Okay.
Always do.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Jaws all the way through?
The movie?
The movie Jaws.
I don't think I have.
Okay.
I actually don't. Because when did that movie come out? I would have been a kid.
70s?
Yeah, so I wasn't even born when that came out. So
Sure.
And I never... Here's the thing. Even as a child, I've never cared much for the water. Never cared really for the beach. So I kind of was like, I'm good. But I've known of it, obviously. But.
So I'm guessing you haven't seen the subsequent sequels.
I know of them and their terribleness. But no, I have not seen... Isn't like Jaws 2 or 3 like the shark literally goes for revenge?
I think so.
I think it's Jaws 3.
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I don't know about the sequels.
One of them I know people were talking about the shark literally like has a vendetta out for a specific human. And I'm like, I suppose that could happen.
The only reason I bring it up because I think I saw a story today about a woman who was in the water, like in the ocean or whatever, and she got her leg bitten by a shark. And wasn't upset about it. She was just like, don't hurt the shark. The shark didn't know. I shouldn't have been there. I was like, whoa. This lady is like a huge like shark stan. Like apparently like sharks can do no wrong, even though it bit her leg. She was just very much, for sharks.
I thought that was funny. Needs a little bit more survival mechanisms kicked in maybe.
But it's so funny because she wasn't scared of the sharks. She just was like, that was my bad. Sorry about that.
But like But with that attitude, why would you then be in the water? Like I'm confused.
I'm not sure the circumstances before that. I just saw.
Does this happen to her a lot, and she doesn't get mad?
I don't think so. I think she just really likes sharks.
Like, oh my bad, I was acting like a seal. I apologize. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
But we aren't going to talk about Jaws today. I just wanted to know what Jared's like background about Jaws was because my experience is limited as well. But
I was going to ask you, have you seen the whole thing?
I have seen bits and pieces of the first one, but again, it came out before us and it wasn't really on my radar as a child.
Oh, I know. Like I remember the ride at Universal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember the doll's eyes. I remember that part. But
anyway, today we're actually going to talk about mostly news. We don't really have anything big except we have some information about Dreamworks Land coming soon, and we're going to talk about that. But before we get to the news, we wanted to mention some housekeeping stuff. Take it away, Jared.
Well, won't this be I was going to say something taking a bite out of it, but
like a shark?
Yeah.
Take a bite out of the housekeeping.
I kept thinking what happened was to take a bite out of crime, and I was like, that's not the same thing.
That's not the same thing.
Not the same thing at all.
Nope.
What I will say, though, if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you want to watch us on YouTube, you can do that. We have video versions of the podcast over there at CTM Podcast on YouTube. And if you are watching us there, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to us, an old trusty regular audio podcast, just like a CB radio, just your trusty friend, we greatly appreciate that as well. And if you please subscribe there and leave us a review, we'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want even more content, you can join Club 32. And you're thinking, what's Club 32? Well, that's the best place to get more content, interact with us a bit more because it's a smaller, little, closer community of people there. And it's the best way to contribute to the show if you choose to do that. And we have some exclusive content there. We're going to have some new, I think we're going to add some, I don't know if a new podcast, but extra podcast episodes over there because most people listen via that way still to this day. So probably do that. But we also have live streams like Cool Kids Kitchen, which is a monthly live stream where we make a dish. We made beignets this past couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We have the Club 32 Speakeasy. We have the Club 32 Show, which is a live stream we do every Tuesday and hang out with all the members there. And always a good time. Who knows what's going to show up there. We have room tours. Like we stayed over at Port Orleans French Quarter over on Thursday night. And we give a room tour there, kind of walked around the resort. And all sorts of things. Got a private podcast, private Facebook group. Got a private podcast feed. Get 20% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products and a lot more stuff. So if you want to check that out, you can go to ctmvip.com. You have monthly or yearly options, and you even have a free trial if you don't want to try it out. So again, ctmvip.com is where you go for that.
Yes,
Yeah,
all right.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Well, let's get to the news. To get to the bulk of the episode here. So, the first thing we're going to talk about, and the biggest thing we're going to talk about, is that Dreamworks Land is officially opening this summer, and we have some more information about it.
We do. So those that aren't in the up on this used to be the Kid Zone at Universal Orlando.
The Woody Woodpecker Kid Zone area.
Yes. And it's been they decide, they shut it down and slowly have been releasing details, and now we have a whole lot of details about what this new redesigned land is going to be. So DreamWorks Land is going to be in 3 sections. So you're going to have Trolls, you're going to have Shrek, and you're going to have Kung Fu Panda. Those are going to be your main 3 parts there. The Shrek area is going to have Shrek's house, which they haven't said this, but this is where people remember when Shrek, the I don't know, it was the ride, but the 3D show that was there. Attached to that was where Shrek, and then you can meet Donkey, and Donkey always had like a stand-up comedian or somebody voicing him. That was always really funny. Even though Shrek is not a new franchise by any means, this was always still really popular. So that's sticking around. They're moving that back here and into Shrek's house, which makes a lot of sense.
It's called Shrek's Swamp Meet.
Yes, and it says guests can visit Shrek's Swamp Meet to interact with beloved characters, Shrek, Princess Fiona, and Donkey, and the noble steed, eager to joke around and converse with guests just outside of Shrek's cottage. And they have Shrek's Swamp for Little Ogres, and this ogre-sized play area features 4 fun slides, wet play areas, and a playground where guests can climb, bounce, and splash around, as well as venture into Shrek's outhouse.
It's just a playground for little kids, basically.
Yes.
I mean, Five-O's Playland was like right in this spot that Shrek's area is going in, and we've talked about how Five-O's Playland is like literally like traumatizing for me just because we lost our son there. So I'm hoping this is more easier to navigate. Because he is only 4 and he'll still want to play with it, I'm sure.
Well, I think in these, a lot of times it's like a line of sight.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Which is one reason why I also don't like, I know you don't have a problem with it, but over in Animal Kingdom at Disney World, the play area over there,
you hate it?
I hate it because you cannot keep line of sight, especially if we got a little one, and it's just, I never relax there. I hate it, but kids enjoy it. But they also have Mama Luna Feline Fiesta. And this is from Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish, and this comes to life with a new interactive experience that takes place in Mama Luna's retirement home for cats. And here guests can get to play with Mama Luna's mini cats on vivid interactive screens activated by buttons, bells, maracas, and levers. And they might even spot the one and only Puss in Boots himself. And there is King Harold's Swamp Symphony. It says guests can create their own melodious masterpiece. Melodious, one of those words. As they trigger a choir of ever-changing frog ribbits by continually stomping on an array of interactive lily pads. And then finally, there is Swamp Snacks. Families can feast like an ogre at this new kiosk, which will serve scrumptious snacks inspired by Shrek, including a Shretzel. I think I said that correctly.
Shrekzel.
Shrekzel. I can't say that.
Shrekzel. Yep.
Far a waffle, and frozen ogre, and more. So that is everything in the Shrek area.
So the Swamp Symphony and the Feline Fiesta, that's just like interactive play things, right? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
That's what it seemed like, yeah.
Yeah.
With perhaps like character meet and greets, maybe like hanging out. You know how they used to always come out there, like especially in the DreamWorks theater area. I could see something like that, maybe.
Okay. I'm kind of interested about the Shrekzel. Is that like a pretzel, but it's shaped like Shrek?
Probably, unless it's green as well.
Ooh, they make it green.
They could make it green.
They could make it green.
Or they could not. I don't know if people would like a green pretzel, but maybe.
They do have some concept art in this this press release about each land or each section of the land, and it's pretty. I mean, it's cute. It's very, I would say, authentic, but it's not like too much. It's pretty simple. But this is definitely for kids. So the Shrek part is like, there's not much going on. It looks like. That's okay though.
Well, it makes me wonder, and I've heard rumors of this, that they're going to do like another Shrek movie, which would make a lot of sense if they do. On it, personally speaking, do you remember the Shrek movies?
Yeah, I do.
They're like Shrek. I loved Shrek. Shrek 2 was an excellent movie. Now, Shrek 3, I don't remember much about. I don't think I liked it as much, but I think the Shrek movies are really good. So I feel like going through all this effort for an IP that is well over 10 years old leads me to think there's going to be more Shrek movies. And but again, that meet and greet was always really popular, so I'm happy to see that come back. And so
it was pretty popular. All right, let's move on to the next part.
Next part, we have Trolls, the Trolls area, which our children will be very excited about.
Oh, yes.
This says, a magnificent fountain featuring favorite Trolls characters, Poppy and Branch, sit at the center of the Trolls village, where phantasmazing energy flows, and guests can relax and find their happy place.
Yeah, this is the area that my kids are going to want to be at the most, just because they love them some Trolls, and they know it the best versus all the three.
Yes, both of our kids love Trolls. So the main thing you have here is the Trolls Troller Coaster, which we assume this was the old. This was Woody the Woodpecker, right?
Yeah,
Woody Woodpecker coaster. So after strolling through a dazzling marquee starring cherished Trolls characters Poppy, Viva, Tiny Diamond, Satin, and Chanel, guests of all ages.
Satin and Chenille.
I thought it was Chanel.
Chenille.
Okay.
It's Captain and Tennille.
Oh, okay.
Satin and Chenille.
Guests of all ages can take a ride on the iconic Cater Bus, escaping evil spiders as they speed along a bright orange and yellow track aboard this family-friendly roller coaster.
It's bright green.
It is. I don't think they changed. I don't know if they added it, took away anything from the track or not. From the construction photos I can see, I'm not sure if they did.
They added some spiders.
Well, I just mean of the track itself. I don't think they changed anything of it.
Are you sure?
They could have. I don't know. I'll have to look closer at it. But because I remember this ride was very short.
It is very short,
So I'm wondering if this is maybe one where they go through two passes eventually.
Maybe.
Some coasters do that, especially like kiddie coasters.
They at least painted it. They yellow and green. It used to be red and blue.
Well, into like
yellow?
Woody Woodpecker is a very old IP.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
just updating it for, stuff that kids know nowadays.
Sure.
So there's also going to be Poppy's Playground. So it says nestled under a giant 20-foot mushroom is Poppy's Playground, a shaded play area featuring colorful flowers and bugs with a bountiful array of fun bouncing and climbing structures for the youngest of trolls.
Okay.
And then there's Trolls Treats. Poppy's boombox from Trolls Band Together has been transformed into a playful kiosk that offers up brightly colored Trolls ice cream treats inspired by Poppy and Branch, like the pink lemonade flavored Poppy-licious Pink and Huckleberry flavored Brozone Berry.
I want that Brozone.
I like going to the Brozone. And then we have the High Five Hideaway. It says Cloud Guy hosts this new retail location featuring the latest merchandise, including including apparel, plush, and accessories from Shrek, Trolls, Kung Fu Panda, Gabby's Dollhouse, and more.
Yeah.
So that is everything going into Trolls.
Okay.
And then we have finally Kung Fu Panda, which there's going to be a new Kung Fu Panda movie coming out. So this timing is probably very good. So it says guests embark on thrilling and fun adventures alongside the lovable Panda Po, from the action-packed world of the Kung Fu Panda movies. First, we have Poe's Kung Fu Training Camp, inspired by the hit Kung Fu Panda films. This all-new play area brings the Panda Village to life like never before. Within both wet and dry play areas, guests have the opportunity to help the pandas wash and dry their laundry with enormous water cannons, dump buckets, giant fans, and more. Guests will also encounter fun elements throughout the experience, including an interactive gong, mischievous giggling baby pandas, and oversized merry-go-round noodle bowls from Mr. Ping's Noodle Shop. Now, this is the old Curious George play area. And from the concept art, it's kind of what they kind of done with this is, I think, pretty good. They've kept that basically like the bones of that building and just rethemed it all. Now, it used to be inside there was that big, you could shoot the balls and a bunch of the play area. I think they're completely redoing all that.
Well, it's already set up for the water features.
Yes,
so that's
already
good.
There. Yeah.
But yeah, we actually, when we did the float, we tossed the beads from the float a couple weeks ago. We actually were backstage and we could see it almost down to its like the framing.
Yeah.
So they had just taken everything out and they're leaving the framing, like we said. So it'll be all different, but it'll look kind of like it did, but just completely rethemed. So
kind of like it did, but completely different.
Is it the same, but it's also different?
Very different, but the
Great.
same.
Right.
There's also Poe Live, and this digital interactive meet and greet experience gives guests the opportunity to interact with the famous Dragon Warrior himself as he teaches them cool kung fu moves, cooks some delicious stir fry, and babysits his little cousin Ling Ling all at the same time.
Okay.
And then there is some additional experiences featuring DreamWorks characters. And it says here there's DreamWorks Imagination Celebration, and the popular DreamWorks animation stories leap off the screen and come to life in DreamWorks Imagination Celebration. This multi-sensory adventure combines hit pop songs, high-energy dancing, advanced technology, and more to create an imaginative party atmosphere that will transport guests to the worlds of their favorite characters within their all-new DreamWorks theater. And then there is the DreamWorks Character Zone. And then here this says guests can meet and greet and interact with their favorite DreamWorks characters like Gabby from Gabby's Dollhouse and more.
So going back to the imagination celebration about the multi-sensory adventure thing that comes to life and all that stuff, I'm guessing this is where Destination DreamWorks used to be, and they're going to redo that theater and make it into this. Like, I'm only assuming.
That's what it seemed like. Yeah. So we can't see. So there is some construction photos of all this stuff, but it's really, we already knew the roller coaster and Shrek's house, but the other stuff, it's really hard to see some of this. Until now, we didn't know a lot of these details. So yes, I think that because I was curious too about the DreamWorks theater that was back there, but they probably didn't change much with that. I would guess maybe a little bit of that whole area when you first walk in was just kind of bland. So they probably added some stuff in there with the interactive side, and then the theater itself, I would assume maybe operates the same, which you had those rotating groups of characters that would come out for a little bit, and then they would go back and they would change them out. So, maybe it's something like that. But I mean, I think this is a great thing for, especially one of the biggest complaints we've ever talked about with Universal is not a lot of stuff to do for littles. And this is a big step, I think, in the right direction, because
I agree.
Multiple play areas, IPs that kids love. Obviously, the adults aren't going to care much about this probably, and
Well, no,
which
no, they're not.
To me, it's the same thing as like Minion Blast. A lot of people really hated on that when it opened, but I was like, for what it is and what it serves, which is for families and like little kids, I think it's a great addition. It's not, not everything has to be, Hagrid's. I think this is cool. And again, we've talked about many times updating these IPs because Universal now has the IPs that they can do this. And I think it's I don't know. I think it sounds really cool. I mean, I know our kids will like most of this.
And, we talk about these 3 sections and all that's in it. And just keep in mind that these sections are very small. Like, this is not a big area at all.
No, it's not.
So when they say there's going to be, like in Shrek, there's going to be the meet and greet, the playground, the interactive experiences, and then the swamp snacks, that's all in a very tight little area. And then you move into Trolls, and then back there is the Kung Fu Panda. So the only thing that I'm thinking there's going to be an interesting thing to where they're going to put it is the Trolls, the Trolls treats, like where that's going to go, and the High Five Hideaway, like the gift shop. Like, where's the space for that?
If you remember right, so basically where Shrek's going to go was all the area they have for Fievel's play area there. Right. And if you remember right, granted, the kids zone has never been big, but that Fievel play area was pretty big. Like, it had a pretty big footprint for just a play area. Yeah. So I think they're just divvying that up where the play area is probably going to be much smaller. You got Shrek's house there and stuff.
Okay.
I would assume with the troll stuff, that's set in the back a bit toward the right. And then when you go all the way back is where Curious George was, which is now going to be Kung Fu Panda. I'm going to assume they may have encroached a bit on the Kung Fu Panda area or the Curious George area because that whole thing was huge. Remember there was the play area out there.
That's probably where the Poppy's playground will go.
So there was a playground there. There was there's just a bunch of unused space in there. There was like some signage. So I think that's probably true. Where they'll put a lot of that stuff to utilize the space better.
Yeah.
Like we said, I don't know if they changed anything with the roller coaster itself. But that's what I would guess. Yeah, for that. And then Kung Fu Panda is just going to be the building structure back there and for that. So
yeah. Well, and there'll also be a pass holder preview that they will have. Obviously no details have been given, but we will, we'll try to attend that and get a preview of that. But yeah, sometime this summer, So, I mean, they said Minion Lane was opening this summer, and it didn't officially open until August. Like officially.
Officially, but then it was basically in what they called
technical
rehearsals for a few months. So that's probably what they'll do with this as well.
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
I'm just so excited.
I am too. I think I mean our kid's about the perfect age for this. They both they both love Trolls. I think honestly a lot of kids don't know about Shrek, but I think Shrek will end up being a really fun area because of the interactiveness with like the donkey and stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you can still find YouTube videos of this stuff, like it was a pretty cool interactive thing. Because again, they have the guy that talks to the donkey and would really interact with the guests, which you don't get that. I mean, Disney used to have that with Mickey Mouse a little bit. Remember they had the pre-recorded stuff that they would talk, but you don't really get that sort of interaction with other meet and greets.
Turtle Talk with Crush does
but that's not a meet and greet.
But it's not really meet and greet.
You know what I mean? Like you don't really. It's a very unique thing in which you meet characters and you're actually conversing with them. It's not like a pre-recorded thing.
Kind of like the fountain in The Lost Continent that talks to you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for mostly our children. To be honest.
Yeah, well,
I'm mostly excited for them. But it'll be a nice addition to this park for sure. So
agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the next story, which is it was confusing, but we can talk about it. So, Skull Island, Reign of Kong is no longer 3D.
Yeah. Well, first off, this isn't a very good ride in my opinion. I don't really care for it too much.
Okay.
Being 3D or not, I don't think it really makes you feel like you're really riding I guess it's like a excursion vehicle out there. But if I were to guess, and this is a similar thing we talked about with Flight of Passage, these 3D glasses typically aren't cheap. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if it's just coming down to the fact that they don't want to buy a bunch of 3D glasses for this and just instead make it 2D. It also makes me wonder about the longevity of this ride, if it's going to be around in the next 10 years. Because it's not like, I mean, if you remember correctly about this ride, this ride came out before the movie did. This is based off of the movie.
Oh, yeah, it did open before the movie.
Yeah, and the anticipation was that this was going to be I think a much bigger hit than it ended up being. And
whoops.
Yeah, I guess it's a risky run when you kind of assume, this is going to be big.
And like it's a decent ride, like, with the dinosaurs and King Kong, and you still have the huge King Kong head, like the animatronic, which is impressive in itself.
Which is a callback to the original King Kong ride. I mean, it's the same ride as Fast and Furious. It's based off the exact same concept, which just comes from Hollywood, the tram tour.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
It's done better than Fast and Furious. But for both of those rides, I don't care for this type of ride where you're on a vehicle and you have screens on both sides, because I feel like you just don't get a good view either way.
Well, yeah. My personal preference is if you are riding this ride, if you can, be on the very, very right, like on the passenger side, because that's where you see most of the action.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I think the queue and stuff is really well done. And like it's a well themed attraction. The ride itself's kind of meh.
From what people have said about it not being 3D anymore is that it's okay. Personally for me, for 3D is hard for me to see just because I just have some weird head-eye issues. So sometimes I don't even wear my glasses. I just watch whatever is going on in the ride for anything I do if it's 3D. So the fact that it's not 3D any longer is probably good for me. But some people have said it's taken away a little bit of the excitement of the ride, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We haven't done it yet, but just putting it out there. It is 2D right now. They said they're testing it. We'll see if it sticks.
Is Fast and Furious 3D?
Is it? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
So
I don't think it is.
I don't believe it is. So this would be very much in the same line of just making it like that ride. Yeah. If I were to make a prediction though, and we'll talk about this maybe in a rumor section, but if I were to guess about this, I guess it'd be a good bet. Like, do you think Reign of Kong is still in Universal Studios, let's say by 2035?
Ooh. I don't know. I mean, they spent a lot of money redoing that whole area, and it's a pretty big footprint in the park. I don't know. I mean, I think other things would go first.
I kind of lean toward. I think they probably would like to redo it, but there's a lot of stuff at Universal Studios that has been there, like the Fear Factor, the whole thing back there. I mean, I know they use that stuff for Halloween Horror Nights, but
Toon Lagoon needs a little bit of needs some love or something. But I would think that before this. I don't know. I don't know though.
Unless they get, and we'll talk about this in a little bit because I think this will come up again. Unless they get very aggressive with a lot of, I'm not going to say redos, but a lot of different rides, updating them, because you do have obviously Epic Universe opening in about a year. The one thing that you don't want to happen is where everybody just wants to go to Epic Universe, because Universal's goal here is to get people to stay for a week. Mm-hmm. To do that, you've got to have enough stuff in all the parks that make people, instead of just being like, let's go a day to Epic Universe, you've got to have enough stuff where people go, yeah, let's go here for 3 or 4 days, maybe 5 days.
Yeah.
And part of that could be if they do get really aggressive with, okay, let's change these rides, let's update these rides, let's, get a lot of this stuff up to date or, better stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, we'll ride it eventually and see what we think. So, okay. Next one we're going to talk about is that Mel's Drive-In has reopened from a lengthy refurbishment. That is the quick service restaurant that's located in the Hollywood section, kind of at the corner, right across from Transformers, right across from
Universal Horror Makeup Show.
Yep, Horror Makeup Show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, fun fact: this was in a Creed music video.
Sure was.
If you watch it,
dang right it was.
Was that Arms Wide Open? It's the one where they're in the boat and they're like sinking. Anyways, you can see Mel's Diner in there clearly, and they filmed it there.
When you're with me, I'm free. I'm careless. What's that song called?
I'll have to go back on my Creed playlist and check it out. I'll let you know. But so the exterior here is the same, but the interior has been freshened up. There's new chairs and booth seating and new counter area and moved the jukebox.
Yeah, I mean, like other casual dining places at Universal, this is primarily mobile ordering now. There is one register, I think I saw one, maybe two, that takes in-person orders, but they really encourage everyone to use the app to mobile order. But unlike Minion Cafe that just opened this past summer, where someone brings you your food to your table, you still have to go up to the counter to pick up your food here.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah, that's a little bit. I mean, they even did this over at the Richter burger place where they brought it to your table.
Well, I think it's going to become the norm now where they bring it to your table.
I agree.
So I don't know why they wouldn't do it here unless they just weren't set up for it.
I agree. That's kind of where my confusion was, because I think that's what they've been kind of moving toward. But maybe they will. I mean, they can always change it to do this, but maybe they're just not doing it right when they open. But.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very popular location to eat at. So, maybe they just need a little more work to do. But we're actually we'll review this sometime soon. Next time we get back to Universal. So.
I mean, I like a good diner.
They have some burgers.
And
some burgers.
As a self-proclaimed burger aficionado, I will try the burgers here, and but
great.
It's a prime spot. I think that's a good spot where a lot of people will utilize, because it's like right in the center of the park.
Yeah,
and so I think it's having that been closed, it probably caused a lot more food places to be a little busier than they probably normally otherwise would be. Was
it My Sacrifice by Creed?
Yes, it was. It was My Sacrifice. Yes, if you look that up, you can hear a resurgence in Creed, and they'll be like, "Wow, I've been to this place." It is kind of amazing watching. I'm like, "Wow, they actually, I think they flooded that entire area."
They put it's so many words. It's like a tarp underneath, like on the ground. Mm-hmm. So yes, it looked like it was underwater, but it really wasn't. It was dry underneath.
I'd like to think Scott Stapp went to Universal and be like, "Let's film it here," and then he's like, "What are we gonna do here, Scott? Flood it." Okay. I don't think that's how he talks. But
okay, moving on to the next story.
I have no idea how to transition out of that.
The Universal Orlando app is doing some testing with Express Pass After 4 for AP holders.
I'm listening. So Premier Pass holders will be able to use the app to scan their passes for the express lane during the time period from 4 p.m. to close. So your pass must be linked to your app in the wallet section there. So as it works right now, and this is what we do with Jamie and I are Premier Pass holders, is whenever you go through the express lane, they scan your annual pass.
Yeah.
So you would just show them your phone or your app on your phone to do that. So I guess it gives you another method. But you can't enter the park, at least yet, with just the app.
You can't.
I don't think, can you?
So here's the thing.
I've never done it.
For whatever reason, I have tried to link my pass to the Universal app multiple times, and it says it's already linked. Yet I can't look at it on my app.
Yeah, there's something weird.
I can't access it.
I'm pretty sure that's an
I don't
issue.
really know anything about it.
It's an issue a lot of people have experienced. We need to go at some point to get it figured out. The problem is,
I just don't know if somebody at guest services would know.
I don't think they would. That's the thing. I think it would become an IT thing.
Right.
And maybe have to call them. But yeah, I mean, I suppose you might be able to, if you could enter the park with that and then do it that way, that's a nice, it's a nice thing. Like when we go to Disney, I have the time I don't have my Magic Band. I just use my phone to get in. So
yeah. Well, it's so frustrating. And with Universal, how it's set up now, like you were saying, is they're just trying to really streamline everything into the app, kind of like Disney has.
Yeah.
And when it's not, when you have to have the extra cards or the paper tickets and everything, it's okay, but it's just not as easy. And so, hopefully they let us do this, pass this test or whatever they're doing for the app, and it might not actually end up working.
I just don't want it to become the main way. And I've said this for a long time. It's like whenever all these things, to me, in my opinion, it's kind of laziness. It's like, well, everybody has these smartphones. Let's utilize it. And I'm not saying you don't do that. Like give people convenience as an option. But whenever you then say, okay, for instance, like no more park maps, no paper maps. Mm-hmm. If they ever get away with like, we're not doing physical cards anymore and stuff like that, I feel like then you're utilizing something that you have no control over. So like, for instance, like AT&T outage happened a couple weeks ago. What do you do when the phones don't work?
It was pandemonium.
Right. And so you're setting yourself up as like, you're reliant upon other things to work. Whereas like if you have these other systems in place, it may be inconvenient to some level perhaps, but at least gives you the ability to function, if your phone's not working or you forget your phone or, some people don't want to use a smartphone.
Your phone dies.
Like me. And I woke up we woke up the next morning and apparently came unplugged and I had 30% right off the bat. And it was like, cool.
No.
So I just think like I would like it to where it's on there if you need it. Mm-hmm. But I don't want it to become like the main way in which everything gets used. I think sadly that's where it's going.
That's where it's headed.
But I will be the old man in the yard screaming, don't do this, but that's just me.
That is just you. That's just you. Well, okay, so we're going to move on from news and we're going to move into some rumors.
Rumors. I need that Conan thing where he says rumors.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember rumors?
I don't remember.
He did.
Okay.
Good Conan back in the day. Conan O'Brien is who I'm speaking of.
Yes.
For all those young people out there listening.
All those youngins. All right, so the first rumor is that the summer tribute store is going to be themed to Ghostbusters.
Yes, please. I hope so. So I think there's a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for a couple of reasons. First off, you do have the 40th anniversary of the first movie.
Yep.
This year. Plus, you do have the new movie coming out this summer.
No, it's coming out this month.
Oh, it is this month, isn't it?
It's like the 22nd or something.
I feel like it's a summer movie that they're bringing out early. Yeah. So it's called Frozen Empire. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense that this would be the case. And I love how they've been doing this. So first off, I just love the whole idea of the tribute stores anyways. But last year it was Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. And then the year before that, it was sort of the 80s movies where you had like Back to the Future and Jaws and all those. So I like this idea of these summer classic movies perhaps being the tribute store during that period of time.
Yeah.
So I think it would be awesome. I think I saw the popcorn bucket for the movies now, which is like the ghost catcher thing.
Oh,
I kind of hope that has something, because I actually want one. I'm going to put it here in the office because as a kid. Oh,
I showed you that. Yeah.
As a kid, I loved the first Ghostbusters. I remember I dressed up for Ghostbusters for Halloween. I remember the whole thing of like their guns and stuff they use, like the traps. I always thought those were the coolest things. Like you step on it and you get a ghost in there. So
there's a lot of potential with the store if they end up doing it. I think it would be a really cool idea.
It fits directly into like nostalgia, retro, Marshmallow Puff Man, all that stuff.
And they used to have a Ghostbusters attraction there. There was presence of Ghostbusters in the parks previously. So
let's re-theme Kong Island to Ghostbusters. I'm not even kidding. That would be great.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I feel like you could start seeing if these new Ghostbusters movies are really popular, which I don't know. I think the last one was okay, but I feel like something like that. Like I have always been curious. And I feel like Universal would be the park to do this, or theme park to do this, which is have an attraction based completely on nostalgia and like retro. Like I feel like if you did come up with a Ghostbusters attraction, I really think it would be pretty popular.
Maybe.
Or, pick some other attraction or some other IP that's just like, even Back to the Future maybe.
I would love that.
I don't think that would happen.
I know.
I wish it would, but yeah.
So usually the tribute store, at least in the years past, the Mardi Gras tribute store will go until the end of Mardi Gras, which is April, like early April this year. So I'm not sure if we're just not going to have a tribute store for like a month or two, and then it'll open like Memorial Day weekend, I think.
Or they could do the rotating where they kind of switch them to the other one. Remember they kind of did that when they used that other location? And
that's right. Because Hollywood and then also New York.
Which I think that's a good idea if they continue doing that.
I don't know, because didn't they use the Halloween Horror Nights tribute store over in New York? And they would do that one starting in August. Because Jurassic Park was in Hollywood location until October.
Unless they switch it up. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway, that's just a rumor. So just putting that out there. And then the second rumor is that the Fast and Furious Supercharged attraction may be closing for good.
I feel like everybody can agree with this. That's a round of applause.
So the reason they think this is going to happen is that usually during Halloween Horror Nights, it has the queue serves as one of the like part of the houses for Halloween Horror Nights. So it is open during the day to guests, and then for Halloween Horror Nights, it closes and becomes the part of the Halloween Horror Nights. Mm-hmm. What they are doing this year, apparently, maybe is going to happen, is that they are going to close it during the day as well. Because one, it cuts down on staffing they need for that ride. And they're always looking to cut costs. Like, look at the hours right now. Mm-hmm. Everything's closing at like 7. I'm like, that's insane.
Which I hate. I wish they need to
so
stay.
Early.
They need to stay open later. They really do.
I can't believe it. I know.
That was one of my biggest complaints. Is just closing too soon.
I think they close at like 8 and 9 on the weekend. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I know spring break will be open a little bit later, but it's busy enough to where they can stay open later. Anyway, and then just trying to cut back on staffing. Really,
I'm
like
sure it's all
opening rides later, like in the day, stuff like that. Anyway, but. The thinking is if it's closing in August for Halloween Horror Nights to get started with all of that, then it may not reopen in November. And if it doesn't, then what are they going to do with that space?
This is one of the newest attractions in all of Universal Orlando.
What year did it open?
It would have opened 2018-ish.
Okay. I thought it was a little earlier than that, but it might be 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, it's one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
Now, Universal knows that this is not a well-liked attraction, given Jamie participated in a focus group. We were legitimately, not even joking, which we NDA'd about this, so we can't speak to what it involves. All I will say is it does confirm some things that I think are really awesome. But one of the questions they asked was, they asked, like, what's your favorite attraction? What's your least favorite attraction? And we both in unison were like, oh, Fast and Furious. And he was like, yeah, we're well aware. Like, they made a joke about it. And even the cast member, or the team members in there, like, they understand that when they're doing the whole, like, bit before you get on the ride, that, like, this whole thing is just goofy. Like, it's a well-known thing. Nobody likes it. I think that, again, like I was saying with Kong, I feel like if you, like, redo this and redo, say, Kong and a couple of these and bring in some really cool attractions, you're going to create a lot of interest and not just going to Epic Universe, which I do think is really important. So Epic Universe obviously is something we're very looking forward to. I personally can't wait for it, but they do need things outside of Epic Universe that draw people into the existing parks.
Yeah.
And I think if they do this, now the timeline for this probably wouldn't be before Epic Universe opens, unless they do some sort of quick little thing on it. But I definitely think this is something that I would assume they are looking at and need to look at. Is stuff like
well, they had planned on putting it in Beijing back in 2018, like whenever it opened, and they canceled that because the feedback here in Florida was terrible. Mm-hmm. So that should tell you something.
I can't believe people don't like family.
I mean, it's all about family.
I mean, if you've never ridden this, I mean, I don't even know how to describe this other than if you've ever seen Fast and Furious movies and you're like, well, that's a little far-fetched. This ride takes that and just like basically turns Vin Diesel into like Superman. Like at one point he's hanging off a helicopter and I think he throws a car at some point.
Trying to get to a party.
Well, it's a party that, it's all about a party. And we're all family in this party.
Listen, I had a game when I was 10 years old. It was on VHS. And I don't remember what it's called now. Something about get to the party or dance party or something like that. And the whole like thing about the game was that you had to do all these tasks, these chores, get them done at home before you could get to the party. And I was like, am I playing this game of this 10-year-old me little girl game?
How do you think Vin Diesel came up with the idea for this?
He's actually used that idea.
I got an idea, guys. We got to get to a party.
Yeah.
No, it's not a great ride. It's Fast and Furious is a franchise that's really big overseas. It doesn't really make that much money here. So those movies,
the movie is not the ride.
That's what I'm saying. The movies themselves are very popular, like Asian markets. If you look at how much money they make, it's typically overseas. So, yeah, I think this needs to be changed out. And it's in a great spot, like right over there by Harry Potter. It's just it's not good.
It's not.
I'll be very curious as to what they might do with this. But I hope this is true.
Yeah, because it's a big footprint. I mean, it took over disaster, which before that was earthquake. Mm-hmm. And also, wasn't Kong in there too?
I think Kong
was Kong where Memmy was?
That I don't remember. That was before
I'm getting my stuff confused. And then that Beetlejuice little show that they had right there, that little courtyard area. That's where Beetlejuice was. Anyway, but it's a rumor so far. So we'll see what Universal comes up with. If they decide to close it for 4 months and then open it again, I mean, okay, but I don't think anybody would be sad to see it go.
Well, they did that with Poseidon's Fury. That's something so this wouldn't be unprecedented that they do this with something that perhaps they're going to do in the future and they just shut it down until they figure what they're going to do. So, it's possible they do that. But the ones I was going to say, another rumor, which we didn't have in the show notes, but is that I did read where, again, a rumor for Halloween Horror Nights is that they may do a Ghostbusters house.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. Okay.
So that was a rumor.
Okay.
That's just potentially looking at that, which I think would be based off the new movie. So that would be pretty cool. I think that would, I mean,
that'd be like the Beetlejuice house. That was more like interactive and creative than it was scary.
Yeah.
I feel like that one would be as scary.
Yeah.
I don't know though. It's a good movie. It's good movies.
I mean,
I like the second one more than the first one because there's a baby.
Well, we can just act like the one that came out with whatever 2016 version, that one never existed. But I mean, the original ones I remember was the second one where they had the stuff came out the bathtub.
Yeah.
That one freaked me out.
Scared me.
I think I remember correctly. That was one. I think my grandparents took me and my brother, which I never recall ever going to a movie with them other than this one. And I do remember we left.
Really?
Well, it was kind of dark.
Yeah.
Watching it now.
Knowing your grandparents. That's crazy.
Yeah. But looking at it now, I think it was on TV not that long ago. I was like, man, this was a dark movie. But yeah, so I definitely like the first one much better than the second one. But again, I think it would be a good idea to do that. So
I don't know. The movies I watched as a kid, I'm like, I would never let my kids watch.
Oh, I was allowed to watch so much stuff.
Like, oh my gosh. Like I was watching Back to the Future is a great movie, but like I was watching it at like 6 years old. I'm like, I don't think I should be hearing this stuff.
I think
like
our
later
parents.
on.
I think our parents all just they just were like, you know what, we're just.
I'm fine now. I'm very well adjusted. Everything's great. Just saying.
Me and my brother joke all the time. We were allowed to watch Major League.
That's rated R.
That is a rated R movie with.
How old were you?
Oh, I don't even know. 8, 9.
Was it because it was about baseball?
I guess.
Oh, might as well be
like
great.
there's affairs in that thing. There's
language.
There's yeah. It's got Charlie Sheen in it.
Adult content.
Very much so.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the different. I think we were allowed to watch kind of. I still remember Cliffhanger and being traumatized by Stallone dropping somebody off of a cliff.
Well, how old were you when you watched that?
I think I was probably around 10, if not younger.
Oh my gosh. I figured out why you're scared of heights. It must be Cliffhanger.
It's Cliffhanger. Dang you,
literally
Stallone.
must be Cliffhanger.
I mean, let's be honest. A fear of heights is a very common thing. Like I don't have a crippling fear.
Just messing with you.
I mean, it's very possible.
Yeah.
Stallone is the core of a lot of my fears. I have the fear of Tango and Cash. If you jump in the air, you don't get electrocuted. I remember that part.
Okay. It's random.
Also Kurt Russell. Anyways.
Well, that's it for the show today. We just had some news, and the bulk of it was about Dreamworks Land, so we just wanted to talk about that. So,
we were going to do a Circus McGurkus review, but
we didn't get
we
to
didn't
try
make it
yet.
to Universal because we went to go in. We were both very tired. We're like, we're going to go in, and so as part of the Premier Pass holder, you get free valet parking, and we pull in, and they had just put the sign up that said valet was closed, like parking lot's full. And Jamie's feet were really hurting her. And I was like, well, I guess this is
I was
a
also
sign.
exhausted.
Yeah. Like we were at the point where we're like, okay, we'll go in real quick, do this and leave. And
going to Universal from Disney is not out of the way for us because it's on the way home. So it's not like we like made a special like trip off of I-4. Not really. It's just right there.
I mean, it was basically Oregon Trail, if I'm being quite honest. But I will tell you, the minute that we were like, oh, okay, let's just not go. We got back on the highway. Jamie was asleep.
I was
literally
out.
By the time I was on the on ramp for I-4, she's out, and she didn't wake up until I pulled in the park and the driveway. So,
okay, can I tell you why?
Well, I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying. Like, I just thought it was funny. You were just that tired.
So we had planned on doing Circus McGurkus and using some special passes we got to ride Hagrid's. Okay, so earlier in the day we were at Epcot and I rode Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind with one of our friends that was there. And I was like, okay, I really don't want to feel sick today. I'm just going to go ahead and take a Bo9, feel good. It'll be great. So I took it about 10 o'clock and I was fine. The ride didn't affect me at all. It was great. And then we got, did lunch and everything. And we're in the car on the way to Universal. And I'm like, well, I'm tired. I'm really sleepy. So it was the Bo9 that was the cause of that. So if I hadn't been so tired because of that, maybe we would have gone, but I would have been like a lost cause. I just would have been
and your feet were really bothering you.
Oh yeah.
I think, but
they were.
Yeah, literally we're just like, okay. And I'm pretty sure you grabbed a blanket and then I wasn't paying much attention. And I think I went to say something to you and I look over and you're just out.
Night.
Well, AirPod it is. And I just listened to something and she was out. So, but yeah, we will do Circus McGurkus, Mel's Diner,
we'll do both of those.
that. But mainly we want to talk about, obviously Dreamworks Land and stuff like that. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the show. So don't forget to check us out on social media. We're all over social media, everywhere.
Everywhere.
I
was gonna say X.
We're Capture the Magic everywhere except for TikTok. We're Cap the Magic.
You have that reversed.
Oh, I have that reversed. We're Cap the Magic everywhere except for TikTok. We're Capture the Magic. Is that right?
That is correct.
Great.
You don't even know our handles.
I'm sorry. I had it flipped around. I said it wrong. I'm sorry.
It's okay. They should all be the same. Eventually I'll change them all, but yeah.
Okay. So check us out over there. And then we're Capture the Magic community on Facebook. So if you have any questions about what we talked about, feel free to ask questions. It's a wonderful community of people that are there to help, and we are as well. So it's a wonderful place to be.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's true.
And also Club 32, ctmvip.com if you want to sign up for that. And
I just want to use my sound effects more.
and what else, Jared?
Well, we have other shows on the network if you want even more content. So we've got the Disney World version, which comes out on Thursdays. We talk about obviously Disney World, and we're going to be talking about Flower and Garden this coming episode.
Yes.
And a food review that may make some people unhappy with us, but we'll just give our honest review. But I was just going to say a certain pizza place in the World Showcase was not fantastic, in our opinion. But we'll talk about it and we'll give our reasons.
Yep.
And I have eaten here before then. So I have
Don't tease it too much.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Move
McDonald's
on.
wasn't that good, okay, guys? It's not that great.
Anyway.
It's decent food, but
Go.
Jamie has Trip Tales as well. It's her Trip Report show. And when's the next one there coming out?
A couple weeks.
Okay.
Yep.
And if you want to be on Trip Tales, you can go to ctmtriptales.com. And if you got a trip coming up, fill out a form. And if Jamie chooses you, she will let you know.
That's right.
That's how that kind of works.
I will.
And of course, if you want more content, Club 32, ctm@vip.com. And like I said, I think I'm gonna start polling. We're gonna ask the club members, what kind of content do you want? Instead of us just guessing, we'll just be like, go to you guys. What do you guys want? So I think a lot of people, it has been voiced in the past. Maybe we'll do some more, additional podcasts, maybe exclusive podcasts or extra podcast episodes, stuff like that. So again, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. And that's it.
As far as Universal trips go, I think we'll probably go back sometime in April. I don't think we have anything on the books for March. And we do plan on doing more like food reviews, just because with Universal compared to Disney, we're kind of playing catch up, where there's a lot more places we need to try. So we're gonna start doing that more, like with Circus McCircus and Mel's Drive-In. So we'll get going on that.
Yeah, I also want to do more snack stuff at Universal, because I feel like Universal is going to start doing more snack stuff, but I feel like that's an area where they kind of lag, say, compared to, say, Disney World. So maybe try and find some cool, because I like reviewing snacks.
You do.
Because again, it's like, it's not as much of a, I feel like a lot of people too, they like it's not that big of a deal to go try a $7 snack. Go try it. If it's good, okay. If it's not good, not the end of the world. If it's great, then hey, that's really cool. Versus, a sit-down meal at any theme park is going to be a little expensive, and things like that. So I enjoy doing the snacks. So I'm hoping to find some more snacks at Universal.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jared, for being here, being present in my presence.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for listening or watching. And as I always like to say, we will see you in the parks.
Bye.